Well, Carlton, it's really nice to spend some time with you. I think what's fascinating, and we were talking about this off camera, is the cohort that you're a part of in really building up the next crop of district leaders.
Yes.
And just tell me about what that's like from your perspective. I know that you said you've worked in so many different roles within districts.
Right.
And to finally sort of say, all right, I want to take this leap. I want to not only learn for myself, but learn what that next step looks like.
Yes.
What was that decision process like for you?
Well, this is sort of a feel-out process, and they bring on former superintendents, current superintendents, school board members, school board directors, and they talk about the rigors of being a superintendent. And do you want to make that leap? And they bring the statistic out that the average superintendent in an urban school district lasts less than 2.5 years. And so you don't want to make sure that you're not one and done, and that you're able to serve our needs of our children. And so what brought me into that decision is an act of service. And so I'm in this to make a difference, and there's many other opportunities out there to do other work that's less challenging, but our youth in our urban districts really need our help and support.
What has surprised you, Carlton, along the way in your learning as a part of that cohort? Is there when you think about the challenges, the 2.5 years and these sorts of things, have there been times where you've sat there and just thought, you knew going in it was complex, right?
Right.
But maybe it opened your eyes to different things that speak to the daily challenges of running an urban school district?
The politics.
Politics.
The politics of it, because it's a vicious cycle of failure. And until someone breaks that vicious cycle of failure and the coalescing. And so when they talk about closing the achievement gap and they talk about equity, well, actually, if you really measure up equity and you go along the same paradigm and saying, I'm going to dedicate these resources to this person, I'm going to dedicate these resources to another, actually the underserved needs more resources. But however, you have less money because it's based on the tax base. And so now you not only do you have to do a job as an urban superintendent, as a leader in guiding the school system, but you have to go and lobby and advocate for your school system. And so what I found is surprising is that we have to build your own brand, and you have to change the narrative and perception of that district. So the politics and the extra going for the extra mile and championing for that district, and also serving the needs of our underserved parents so that the children can get into school to learn. Because if their basic needs are not met, as you know in Maslow's hierarchy of learning, that if their needs are not met, there's no way they can learn. And so what you're facing is reputation, you're facing dysfunctions from the school board, you're facing less money from the state. And so these are the challenges of being an urban superintendent, and so the burnout is tremendous.
What is it to talk about? I don't think we think maybe spend enough time thinking about the challenges and the opportunity in communicating to an urban school environment community that changes the narrative, to your point, which is there is opportunity in the school in your community, right? There are ways that we can help divert and change that vicious cycle that you spoke of.
Right.
That's not something that you can, that has to be about part of everyday communicating with your school environment, does it not?
It has to reaching out to the parents. It has to, it's constituent services. Also, the media plays a big part in it, because you have some people that are for you and those are against you. And some of the media is feasting off the dysfunction of the school system, and sometimes you have some news outlets who want to celebrate the successes. And so you also have to change public perception along with your constituent services, building strong PTAs, going out there and building strong business partnerships to invest in why should we be here? Why should we believe in you? Are you going to be here long enough? And then here's the other problem. When they make the changes that you need to make, of course, not everybody's going to be happy. Somebody is benefiting off the chaos of an underperforming school system. And so when the elections come and you have your school board members, you may have the school board members that generally support you and hire you, but the next election you could have a brand new set of school board members. They totally have a different agenda on their mind, and they decided this is not the direction we want to go, so therefore we would like to try someone new.
Carlton, we'll touch on a sensitive topic, but one I think that's important in education, in really society, and that's around the potential responsibility that you might feel as an African American in going towards a superintendent position? Because we know that we're trying to see more diversity
Right.
that is reflective of our communities, because
Correct.
if we want young people to aspire to not only succeed in education, but then to also work and give back,
Correct.
having role models is a key piece to that.
Correct.
So what is that like for you, just to know that there are young people that are, I would imagine, looking up to you in your own community that are saying,
Right.
not only cheering you on,
Yes.
but it just changes the dynamic, does it not?
Yes, it does. It does change the paradigm. But Dr. Burke, and I also want to bring out a staggering statistic to you that there are less than 2% African American male superintendents in this country. But however, if you read the statistics, by 2044, the majority minority will be the majority of the United States. So
are we planning accordingly?
No, we're not. So the dynamic shifts have not adjusted. So you may have career educators that have been teaching 20, 25 years, but the dynamics of the Latino population, African American population has risen. And so therefore the game has changed. And so some people are wanting for the days that I wish the students would be able to sit in rows and just listen to what I'm saying. So as you stated, you have children, so my children as well. So my son, he's operating a laptop, he's operating his tablet, and he's watching TV at the same time. So all those neurons are firing. So if all those neurons are firing, why are we having our children sitting in rows in a non-engaging atmosphere? And so that is what is happening to our youth. And so they are being stimulated, and their attention spans are a lot shorter, and it's also a cultural difference in the way they learn.
Do you find that they're having more conversations around the cultural component that we're talking about now? I mean, are there active conversations around that we're saying, well, wait a minute, why don't we have more diversity at a district leadership level? I mean, are these active conversations that you're hearing outside of even your cohort? That's just
Yes, those are active conversations that are going around to make sure that there's proper representation for the district that you're serving. And so that seems to be a great disparity, but nothing really has changed yet, because we're still at around 2%. But however, that's an
incredible number.
That does not reflect what our children out there that we are serving represents. It should all be about diversity, but not at the low rate of 2%.
No, because messages, whether they're verbal or not, are still impacting those around us. And if young people don't see representation,
right,
we are playing a part in that vicious cycle.
Absolutely.
Well, continued success. We really wish you well, Carlton.
Thank you, sir.